planet, our home, threatened by man's activities with fears of mass extinction on the rise. On Green Angle, we examine the issues that affect our environment, seek solutions to put us on track to secure and restore a cleaner and greener world for generations to come.
Hello and thank you for joining the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, Christian Association of Nigeria raises alarm, says 23 pastors killed and more than 200 churches shut in Kaduna over insecurity in the past 4 months. I'll be hanging out with Adewale Adeoye and Asuko James. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Another Nigerian territory is about to suffer the fate of Bakassi Peninsula, but the House of Representatives ad hoc committee on international boundary disputes has halted plans to cede Sina in Michika local government area of Adamawa State to the Republic of Cameroon. At an investigative hearing of the Nigeria-Cameroon boundary disputes, Chairman of the committee, Benila, said demarcation of the boundary must be put on hold until the disputes are resolved. Asuko, tell us about this disputed territory.
Yeah, you know, the thing is Nigeria borders Cameroon in several ways. And after the ICJ ruling on Bakassi, people were already thinking, I think the Cameroonians were thinking that they have a right, you know, to have some communities in Nigeria. But unfortunately, the ruling concerning Bakassi is different from whatever you are seeing in Adamawa. So, because this is more an international boundary dispute. The Bakassi zone was more about you have to take from Lake Chad down to Bakassi and see where Nigeria falls. And then for this Adamawa zone, it's quite different because the ruling, I think, does not affect that of Adamawa, but it affects more the one of Bakassi. And so what the committee is now saying is that they have to look at it in an holistic manner and see the communities that even fall into Cameroon. Because it's the left side, after that ruling, it's the left side that falls into Cameroon. If you go to, because I was in Obudu in 2019, there was a mountain, there's a particular mountain I walked into, and they were telling us, look at Cameroon, that sometimes they come to Nigeria territory because we don't have any border post or anything. And that the Bakassi people, can't go into Cameroon, because already the gendarmes are there. So there's a difference. So once you look at this other side, you are seeing Cameroon. But on the left-hand side, it's supposed to be the Nigerian side, the Nigerian territory. So these Sina people apparently have been having issues with the Cameroonians because I think it falls very close to the right-hand side, which is the Cameroonian side. But they are saying they are not Cameroonians, that they are part of Nigeria. So where this committee is now going to look at is how they can look at that ruling, the ICJ ruling, which many call it the watershed, ruling, and then be able to see how Nigeria is being divided from Cameroon, so that we don't have our brothers in Cameroon when they are supposed to be in Nigeria. There was a dispute over, I remember when we had the issue about Atiku Abubakar not coming from Nigeria and all that. He was from Adamawa. So these are some of the issues that I think this committee will need to look at. What does the ICJ ruling entails? And then they will begin to look at the communities, because there are so many communities around that border town, that border area, the boundary area, that are very intertwined and linked. So if they are looking at it, they will be able to know that, okay, this one is Cameroon and this one is Nigeria. The funniest thing is that our own boundary part is not usually being manned by security forces. So that is a major problem. If we have opportunity of manning our own boundaries, I think all these issues will not be there, because once they say, okay, this is where the International Court of Justice have actually given us the opportunity to, this is Nigeria and this is Cameroon, we should be able to send troops immediately to guide that area. But the Cameroonians are doing that. And I don't know how they do it. They do it so easily. Even in Cameroon, in Bakassi area, they do it so easily. When once you go, you can't just enter into Cameroon like that from Bakassi.
The names about who's
yes.
At a lot.
Yeah.
Wale, since we took that decision for ceding Bakassi Peninsula as of that time, I think after that decision, we regretted it. And so many years after, they're still talking about that review. But since the federal government of Nigeria officially ceded that peninsula, so we shouldn't have a case that we are going to rush, to concede any part of our territory to.
I don't think any sovereign nation will wish to cede any inch of its land voluntarily. And then when we lost Bakassi, I think it didn't go well with a lot of people, even some people in that territory. In this case of Adamawa, we also need to look at the problem historically. That area was under the Sokoto Caliphate. The jihad of 1804 to 1808 extended to the entire of Adamawa. So it was under the Caliphate rule until 1884, when during the Berlin Conference, that place was given to Germany. And from Germany, at the start of the First World War in 1914, the British invaded Adamawa from Nigeria, and then the French invaded Adamawa from North Africa. So the place was now divided between British Cameroon and French Cameroon. So the area we are talking about fell under British Cameroon. And when the International Court of Justice is saying that we need to honor the boundaries that existed between British Cameroon and French Cameroon, that whatever the debate on these areas has to be, and they say if you are going to Lake Chad, any area on the right belongs to Nigeria, just like you say. On the left belongs to Cameroon. To Cameroon. There was a plebiscite, I think, in 1961, where the people voted where they wanted to be, and many of them some decided to be in Cameroon, some voted to be in Nigeria.
Oh, we had that kind of referendum?
Yeah, yes, there was a plebiscite in 1961. So, for me, I don't think it is right to now begin to talk about ceding this part again to Cameroon. Of course, there are objective problems. Just like I said, those people in that area don't feel protected by the Nigerian authority. They are not treated as Nigerians. Why Cameroon is trying to offer them a lot of things to give them a sense of belonging. But I think the fact of the matter is that we need to look at these issues historically, and we should avoid any diplomatic face-off. I think both countries should have respect for the ruling of the International Court of Justice, so that we can resolve this problem without necessarily, fighting each other.
Yeah. New brooms, they say, sweep cleaner and better. The new Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, is demonstrating this. The minister said the Nigerian Immigration Service has cleared about 60,000 backlog of passport applications in 4 days. Tunji-Ojo explained that the number of released passports is out of the more than 200,000 pending applications. He directed Immigration Service to ensure clearance of all pending passport applications within 2 weeks. Asuko, it's my right to have access to passports,
yes,
the passports, and get it as a when due. But over time, the jackpot syndrome and the multiplying effect has the requests for
has increased.
International passports
has increased.
Skyrocketed.
Yes.
And you discovered that during the administration of Muhammadu Buhari, under Rauf Aregbesola, You have a passport office in Elisha. You have a passport office in some states.
So many
strategic
states. So many states now.
Now that you don't have to concentrate in
Lagos,
Elephant House, in Alausa here, and Alagbo close.
Yes, and Ikoyi.
Ikoyi. So you don't have to.
I think they also made, he established another one somewhere in Yanapaja. In Alimosho. So
it's decentralized.
But even at that, it's not enough.
But the demand now.
It's not
demand
enough. You need to go
it's difficult.
Go to the embassies. That is when you know that people really need passport. Or people who, if you go to it's the best place. That's UK. Or you office. Go to Lekki Phase 1.
Yes, Lekki Phase 1.
Or you go to what is it called? There's another one somewhere around I just said Adiogun or wherever.
No, the main American embassy. Now, what's the name of that close? I forgot.
Walter Carrington.
Lekki Crescent. Oh damn.
You know. So if that's when you now see the number of Nigerians who want to leave. But I'm excited that the minister is matching his words with action. Remember, I know some days back when I was seated here, you were not around then, we were discussing this same matter. And I mentioned one of our colleagues who I actually captured 4 months ago. Before coming here, I actually called her. She said she collected her passport today. So meaning she is part of the 60,000 passports that have been, done. This is what you are saying. I can't capture something that I know is my right. I need it in 4 days, 2 days, and then somebody will say,
so come back. We import these booklets. Yes,
even if we import, we should know the number of people we are capturing. If you are going to capture 1 million people, tell the people that are going to make this booklet, send us 1 million booklets. You understand? People are paying for it. It's not free of charge, Ayo. If you are telling me that to get a booklet is 25k, it means the person who is also making this booklet is going to collect my 25k. You are not telling. You understand what I mean? Because I know they do fast track and all that, but I'm not even interested in fast tracking. But I'm talking about if somebody is producing something for you, and even if you want to make money, you know the person who is producing should give you in excess, not to reduce it. So those who are capturing should be able to get in 2 weeks. And I thank this minister because he's now saying that if you are after this backlog, which is 200,000, now it has reduced. The amount has reduced to 140,000 in backlog. By the time he clears this, people should be able to confidently go to this passport office and then capture, and then they tell them in 4 days' time or in 2 days' time, come for your passport, and they will go there and get their passport. The passport is not everybody that collects passport that will travel out. That is one thing people should know. Because some people use it for their banking transaction.
With lots of other things.
Yes, and so many other things, just for identification. So if I need my passport, give it to me. Don't delay me. But our colleague even forgot that she even did the capturing until the minister started shouting. You know, so we thank the minister for this. We have to commend him. You know, he has done it. He was even here live, and he spoke about, you know, the matching his word with action. And this is what we need. We need all the ministers who now have appointments. Let them begin to, whatever they are saying, let us be seeing the dividend, because that is the only way we have confidence in the government.
Mr. Dewi, now, when you were to look at it, some Nigerians out of the country that they want to go to, if you're in America, you're required to go to either DC, New York. If you're anywhere in Europe, go to our embassy to go and renew your. I've had them complaining over and over.
That is
very difficult.
Yeah. First of all, there has been some radical changes, you know, in immigration the past years. You know, beginning from under when Aregbesola was there, and I think this is a continuation of when you are talking about decentralization. You have just mentioned so many new offices that have been opened. I think, you see, the national passport should be a right of every Nigerian. I know I have a friend who has, you know, a Nigerian who has American passport. When he's now living in Nigeria. When the passport was due, they call him from the embassy. Your new passport is ready. Come and pick it. What time are you coming?
That is American passport.
American passport. Why should getting a Nigerian passport be like you are going to want to enter heaven. Because a lot of people, you have a conference next week abroad, you want your passport to renew your passport. Sometimes you miss out. You can't go.
Yeah, exactly.
Workshops, seminars. People abroad who want to renew their passports, it's like, a needle, a thread passing through, elephant passing through, the needle's eye. Why should this be? And if you go to passport offices, it's like a huge market. Old people, children, some will even not go to school for 1 week.
Exactly.
Just reporting to get international passport. Why is the government making things difficult for us? So I think what the minister has done is quite impressive. Now, he said within 4 working days, they were able to produce 60,000. to clear 60,000. We hope in the next 3 weeks, we are going to come back here to say that the remaining 140,000, the minister has also cleared it. And this should be extended to other issues of bilateral relationship, immigration and all that. Why should people travel all the way from Port Harcourt to Abuja to get, or from Calabar to Abuja to get American visa? Why can't we decentralize? In the 60s, in the 50s, there used to be envoys, in Ibadan, Enugu, Kaduna, and then, in those 3 places. So you don't need to travel the way. So they can relate with those embassies to also decentralize the issuance of visas. People come all the way from Calabar, you go to Abuja, 2 days just to get visa. Then you stay there because of the risk, even on the road. So I'm happy that he said what he has done is part of renewed hope agenda of Mr. President. And he's also collaborating with other ministers that they want to network. He's talking about human trafficking, talking about, dealing with these problems and all that. So I hope this will not just be restricted to issuance of passport, that other areas that are connected with immigration and interior ministry, that this radical intervention will also be extended to those areas.
Then, Asuko, in terms of racketeering, it's something that's so rampant, and immigration officers should not be at the vanguard, or we should not go through any middleman to get my passport. If I want to get my passport now, I should be able to go to the elephant house. I don't need any middleman. I don't need to know anybody, but just take my turn, and I'll be captured. And in less than 1 week, I should be able to get my passport. That's the idea.
The minister can stop that. I know that even in this Malausa, the numbers of people that I used to see in that compound has reduced. So meaning that they are trying to reduce the number of all these touts around that area. So if, for instance, just like you say, if I can just pay and online, if we do everything online, now there's no need for you to go and do touting and all that. People will not go and patronize touts. If you do everything online, give me a date. And once I get there, everything online. Then once I get to the gate, I show them the slip or the paper that for my appointment. I go there, capture and leave. I don't need anybody to come and tell me, oh, don't worry, I can fast track for you. No, So the minister can look at all these things and reduce the number of people around there. The only set of people there, because I keep wondering, why should we be doing everything in paper? That is why you keep having people who will be doing business center around the area. That is where they will tell you, I have somebody inside there that can do passports for you, sharp. You understand? So if they can reduce this paper, the whole thing in paper form, and everything is online, it will reduce. And I think the minister can also look at this, because the last time he came, we were trying to ask him this question, but we could not. Some people who change names, change of name, change of marital status.
Yes.
They can't do it.
Do I have to go to Abuja?
Abuja. Yeah. You understand? You have to go to Abuja. So this is something that the minister can look at. I can't say I want to go. It's not that when you go to Abuja, you do it immediately. Yeah. You have to get to hotel. You will eat. You will enter the transport. So and for any state that you are, you will go to Abuja to go and do it. Why? So the minister can look at all these things, because these are the bottlenecks that even the so-called touts are making money from. So the minister looks into this, apart from every other interior ministry duties, for him to.
But it's kind of backward. If I want to effect name change, that I have to leave Lagos to go to Abuja. Why?
Yeah, sometimes there is error, in your passport, human error. You want to do that correction, you can be on it for 1 year. The government should know that having more Nigerians to have passport is good for the government because you are keeping records of
data.
It helps you to monitor, illicit funds. It helps you to monitor fingerprints.
Yes, they capture.
In some Western countries, your passport has a tiny chip. Nobody can see it with your visible eye. When you take your passport and somebody is kidnapped, through that chip they can locate where you are. That's how important international passports are. So it's important for they will also make more money if you have about 150 million Nigerians with international passport. So it shouldn't be a difficult thing. It should be made accessible to every Nigerian.
Yeah. So it will shop revenue. And the official rates should be published so that I won't have to say for 66 pages. I know what I'm going to get. For the 10-year thing, I know how much I'm going to pay officially.
Exactly, because some people say if you want 32 pages, you pay maybe 27,000 officially. If you want 64, you pay maybe 32,000 or about 54,000 or thereabout. But it's not like that. Sometimes you even pay that 64. Yeah. By the time the booklet will be coming, it's 32 that you collect, and they'll say, there's no booklet. You that you have been waiting for how many months? You don't have any choice. You just have to collect that 32. Meanwhile, you are paid for 64 pages. So all this
change.
Yeah, of course. So Nigerians, we don't like plenty problem. So we just say, well, since that is what they can give me, let me take it and then leave. Because after spending like maybe 6 months, 4 months, after you captured, so the minister can look at this. If they need to increase the fees for people for Nigerians to have efficiency, for there to be efficiency in that department or that agency, let them do it. If I need to get my passport and you say it's 50,000, people go there and they know that once I capture today, in the next 4 days I get it. I tell you, Nigerians will pay for it and they won't go through town.
I also think the Nigerian government needs to revive the Nigerian Security and Printing and Minting Corporation. That was the company that used to print security documents like this locally. The office used to be on Ahmadu Bello Way. I think maybe now in Abuja.
I don't know the ones that printed the Naira notes that had problems.
So we need to be able to print, documents like this, passport locally. We need to go back and revive that, company in order to be able to do things like this. It's not every time we should take everything abroad. It's even cost money. You have to look for foreign exchange. So I hope the minister will address this issue in collaboration with the necessary ministries.
All right. We'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay with us.
Heading home from work, in the busy traffic, your car breaks down. Car horns blast. Your car is pushed aside. You call for help. Phone battery blinks and dies. You take a cab. Few miles, tire bursts. What a day. Frustrated, sweating, and tired. Nearing home, darkness envelops the street. Wow! Just one house is bubbling with
ARB Solar Energy Systems, my anniversary present to us.
No matter how dark life is, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels.
Thank you for staying with us. This is CVC News Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. And I still have Asuko James and Adewale Adeoye in the studio. More commendations are coming in for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for brokering peace between Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates, UAE. The latest commendation comes from the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, who hailed President Tinubu for what he termed ingenuity in resolving the visa crisis with the UAE. Akpabio described the action as a socio-political showpiece, saying it is an act of genius for the president to have seamlessly restored diplomatic relations between the two countries. Asuko, do you agree with the Senate presidency?
Yes.
The Senate president?
Yes, I totally agree with him. Because the matter has been lingering for so long. no matter how, even if it is a year, it lingered so long for close to almost 9 to 10 months, because since October last year, that former President Buhari tried to, mend fences and see how this matter could be resolved. But the UAE authorities said no. They rejected his request. And for our president to have said, okay, I want to personally deal, for them to resolve this. They were even telling me about a woman who her own business in travel agency is just Dubai visa processing and ticketing. That is Etihad, and the people that we are working with her, she said, oh, there's no job, and then she moved to UK. Okay, so but with this, maybe she will come back by the time they start operations, and then business will start. So if you look at this, it's a win-win situation for both the Nigerian government and the UAE government, because now they can collaborate more. It's not only about the lifting of flight ban, okay? It's not only about this flights, but they are now looking at the economic impact, what we can do together in terms of agriculture, defense, and aviation, and so many other things. So for our president to have gone there, was something that I know most Nigerians who are always antagonistic about him didn't believe that he would do that when he said he's going to leave India and he'll stop by. Some people were already thinking he's going to go and do, what is it called? He's going for medical checkup. So people are thinking like that. But thankfully, the man knew our small airlines, they can come together and then they will say, okay, let them fly into Dubai International Airport, not the Sharjah airport that they gave airpiece. Okay? So now it can be the Dubai International Airport where they can make good money from their business.
Why did you think it took this long? Emirates, they've left the lucrative route for some months now, and nothing was done to make sure we reach out, the two countries will come to an agreement. And
I think it's determination of or vision of leadership. The former president, when the president of UAE lost his mother, the former president issued a statement of condolence. And in that condolence, he also made this request. When I read it at that time,
made the request.
He made the request that, to leave the ban. But deep down in me, culturally, I felt it was not the appropriate time to raise when somebody has just good point.
Somebody is mourning
at a very wrong time. So I think the issue is understanding global politics and how to deal with complex issues. If the president had sent the Minister of Foreign Affairs, he probably would have made his counterpart from UAE, in UAE, and nothing would have come out. Well, they would have just, okay, diplomats, when they tell you, they will never tell you yes. When they tell you maybe, they mean yes. When they tell you no, they mean maybe. They won't tell you yes. They won't tell him, okay, we are going to, but for the president himself to travel there and met the president of that country. Of course, no one else will have welcomed our president other than the president of UAE. So I think that is significant. And it shows that it's always good to have a president that has capacity to move, to take decisions and take action, by himself, not delegating responsibilities. What has made this very easy was the fact that the president traveled there, met the president, and he felt honored that if the president can come because of this issue, coming to meet me, that is a very major issue. So I think that's quite significant. We should not forget that UAE is the alternative Europe to many Nigerians.
Yeah.
You see people selling, Onitsha, selling, traders in Onitsha, traders in Balogun. They can easily go to UAE. If they cannot go to America or to Europe, they can easily, even somebody cannot speak English, you can travel there. There are no fewer than 100,000 Nigerians who are now living in UAE. Artisans, workers, traders, even some working as laborers. So for many who cannot travel to Europe, UAE has become that new destination for them to do their business, to do their trade. And you see, UAE is very important to us. From 19, between our trade, their investment in Nigeria was about $10 million in 1996. We are not talking about $1.3 billion, coming from UAE. So in that kind of country, we can't do away with it. Emirates flights comes to Nigeria twice a day, and it's they organize a lot of connecting flights from Dubai to Europe. So it's a very strategic country to us that I don't think. I was wondering why we kept left this thing in the cooler for so long. So I think I'm really happy. It's a major achievement, for the president, and I think we have to recognize it.
In terms of diplomacy, and in terms of what will stand to benefit, they've highlighted the crux of their agreement and everything. Ultimately, the two countries will tend to gain more.
Yeah, because now they can sit down. I expect by the time the whole thing, is settled, I want to see a situation whereby some of our ministers can go there and learn how these things are being done. Okay, how they do it. Tourism, for instance, how are they able to, bring from a desert country, turn it into a tourist attraction? The aviation, the Dubai International Airport that I was talking has 3 big terminals. Okay, and it takes more than 100, more than 11 million people. Okay, 11 million people
at the time.
Yes, and that is one of the 3rd busiest airport in the world. Okay, so there's a lot we can learn from them. We might not get close to them, but we can learn a lot and then bring it back, because since we are now seeing a government that really wants to see how Nigeria can change quickly, it can send some of these ministers, go there, understudy, come back, and then we'll begin to look at all those in terms of tourism, agriculture, aviation, because we really need a national carrier. How we are they able to make Emirates a major player in the industry? Look, for instance, Ethiopia Air. The major source of Ethiopia's revenue is aviation.
Yeah.
Okay, so how were they able to do that? So even instead of going to Ethiopia, we can, now that we have a good relationship with UAE, we can now start going to UAE for us to, understudy. So we are going to learn a lot and gain a lot from this relationship. So it's not only about Nigerians going there to go and, holiday and come back, but we can now begin to see it in an economic perspective for the whole country to enjoy.
All right. The pang of insecurity in many parts of Nigeria remains a bitter pill for many to swallow. The chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in Kaduna State, Joseph John Hayab, said bandits killed 23 pastors and shut down 200 churches across the states in the past 4 months. Speaking during a meeting with the State Commissioner of Police, Musa Yusuf Gaba, and pastors from different denominations in the 23 local government areas of the states, Hayab explained that the church has gone through difficult times due to activities of criminals. We don't know, maybe this is largely underreported. For us to have this kind of statistics, it's very, very surprising that within Nigeria we could record this kind of activity. Do you think, for me, I don't think it's a purely religious thing. But randomly, some states in the north, they are not just secured.
I think it's a very unfortunate thing that Kaduna, that used to be the watershed of London civilization, political civilization, is now on a great decline. The Kaduna used to be the most peaceful city, in northern Nigeria. In fact, people from the south, from everywhere, Kaduna used to be the hub. And unfortunately, it's a different story. And if you look at every city in this country, I think Kaduna is the most policed, because NDA, best military institutions, Air Force, Navy, they are all in Kaduna. Not most, but a lot of military institutions are in Kaduna. Yet, this kind of thing is happening. I think, like you have said, I don't think it's essentially a Christian-Muslim conflict. You know, I see it as a breakdown of trust. I think that's the fundamental issue. You know, breakdown of trust among the people themselves, and then between the government, you know, and the people. And over the years, we have allowed this problem to build up, you know, without addressing the problem. And I think it has so many strands. There is ethnic dimension, there is religious dimension, there is cultural dimension, there is also economic dimension. People are questioning land ownership, resource allocation, you know, over ancestral land and all that. So it's not just a religious thing, because there are also, if you ask Muslims to also come up with statistics, they will tell you a lot of, you know, imams that have been killed, a lot of Muslims that have been killed. In fact, there are situations where Muslims also kill Muslims in Kaduna. Christians also kill Christians. So we should avoid the temptation of giving it a single narration that is just Christian. We have to look at it, you know, from dialectics of all the issues that are involved. But I think what is important now is that we need to find a solution to this problem. And we should not make the mistake to live under the illusion that, oh, it's a Kaduna problem. If Kaduna burns today, continue to burn, Nigeria will not be at peace. It's going to affect, it's like a cobweb. Anywhere you drop, it will affect the whole network. So it's our problem. Northern leaders must rise up to this occasion. Leaders all over the country must rise up to this occasion, and so that Kaduna can regain its heritage, can regain its history. And I think we need to work together. Third parties, civil society organizations, Christian leaders, especially those who are known for preaching hate in a mosque, in a, you know, on the temple. You know, they need to stop that kind of thing. And let us work together to see how we can rebuild Kaduna to the prosperity and peace and harmony of all of us. Because if Kaduna is in trouble, definitely it's going to spread to other parts of the country. It's a challenge for the new government, and I hope the president also realizes the enormity of this problem, and they will work together with the state government to ensure that, you know, they bring back the heritage and civilization of Kaduna.
So it's all about, you know, when a state like that, and if you see what they went through the last administration, when Samuel Arwan used to give, is it monthly or quarterly brief about the state of insecurity in that state, it was one of those states that I know that the number of killings and everything, they don't shy away from reporting, giving us accurate figures and everything. But it persistently, throughout that administration, Southern Kaduna has always been, you know, a source of concern. I was just looking at the statistics, and just like Wale said, it's not about the religious part of it, because Muslims are also affected. Traditionalists are also affected, you know. I think where we need to look at is how traditional rulers can seriously assist, particularly when you have different religious groups staying in your domain, how you can assist in trying to make sure that they are safe. For instance, if it is in the south, any tribe, any religion should be able to, you know, thrive can stay in your religion, in your area, and you must secure that person. You know, so traditional rulers should be held accountable in anything that happens in their community, because that is why they are traditional rulers. Because if for instance, if we had a state police, or we have state police that will now break down to community police, we won't be talking about having traditional rulers to help assist in this. So we need our traditional rulers to help guide people who come to their community. Before coming, I was reading a particular article on corps members who were traveling to Zamfara and they were kidnapped. You know, it's Akwa Ibom corps members that were kidnapped. They were able to, you know, bring out 13 million for them to be freed. But at the end of the day, the kidnappers are saying they want 200 million. You know, so these kidnappers stay somewhere. You can't tell me that most traditional rulers do not know that kidnappers are in their domain. So why can't they pass that same information to the police? And that is where I also want to talk about trust in the institution.
If a traditional ruler goes to the police and say, I feel in that my forest, or there's a forest around my area, there are kidnappers, the police, the traditional should be confident enough to know that I'm passing this information in trust. And so, please do not tell these kidnappers that I actually told you. So, people, the police also should be involved. People should be able to be confident enough to go and tell the police, give the police information, and then they can sleep easy. If not, we'll keep having these issues. So Nigerians should not look. I know the caption is going to wow so many people. People will be angry, but these killings happens to all faiths in Nigeria. And so the only way we can do this is for us to help ourselves. The police will have to be involved. The traditional rulers have to be involved. The youths, they also have to be involved.
Have to be on deck.
You know, now that we are talking about, because people will say, it's because of poverty, that is why people are kidnapping. Poverty, hunger, I know there's serious hunger, but it shouldn't make you go into crime. Because then once you go into crime, if you are being arrested, you'll be prosecuted. And when you are being arrested and prosecuted, our laws should be so stringent that any kidnapper that is being caught, you should have serious jail term, whereby by the time he gets into the correctional facility, he should know that, okay, what he actually did was serious. So it's a big call for this administration. We are very sympathetic to them because it was already there, you know. So we've been shouting and shouting about it, but they came to face it, and so they have to face it and find solution to it.
Wale?
Well, one thing is, because we had a conference in Kaduna, which was supported by Ford Foundation, which was on peace building. And then what we discovered at that time, the former commissioner was also there for internal security. There are three major problems we discovered. The first one is delayed response. You know, when there are flashpoints of crisis, either from the government. For instance, if two people fight and they are both from different regions, they kill each other. That thing will be on. Nobody does anything on time. Then, either from the government or from security agencies. Look at today, if you want to travel, you want to, Uber, you just press the button and then the Uber comes in how many minutes? 10 minutes. Why can't we have the same thing for our policemen, like they have abroad? What is so special about that? You know, some people design that app that if you call Uber or whatever, 10 minutes is there. So that's why you see security abroad, that if there is a problem, 5 minutes, less than 10 minutes, they are there. That doesn't happen in Kaduna, and just like we have in other parts of the country. The other problem is lack of sustainable peace building mechanism. When the government brings people together, not only in Kaduna, they come and talk, Christian, Muslims, they just do it. Maybe the next time will be 6 months' time. Or maybe when it's election time, they call them again. If we want to build sustainable peace, there should be constant interaction. Maybe every month, they'll be holding meetings together, discussing together. If there are issues in every particular month, they can come together to resolve it. Then the justice system is another problem. Most of those who perpetrate crime, who kill people, there's no justice for the victims, there's no justice for perpetrators of crime, there's also no justice for the society. So you see a lot of people who perpetrate crime, they walk on the street, nothing happens to them. So when you have these major pillars that are not addressed, you see that you continue to have, a spiral, effect of a crisis upon crisis that people, are unable to resolve.
As we have a formal complaint from the Christian Association of Nigeria, do you think we should, the police should make efforts to guard these churches and clerics?
Like we said, it shouldn't just be only about the pastors only. What of the imams? You understand? It shouldn't just be only about, they have made they have raised this alarm, but it shouldn't just be about only the churches. So
we're talking about 23 pastors,
pastors
and
now.
shut down over 200
in fact,
churches
this pastor
across
that came out
in the past 4 months.
Tell us about this whole thing. He has members in the bush, still in the bush. They were kidnapped since August. Okay? So he is coming out to now tell you that sometimes their doctors will call him and say, please pray for your members. So what the police should do is get this information and see how they can. Nigeria is very large, But there are so many places in Nigeria that there's no network.
Yeah.
You know, just like you're talking about us having app that looks like the Uber and Co. There are some places in Nigeria where once you are passing, even there's no network at all. So there are that is why we have so many ungoverned spaces in Nigeria. Police cannot get to some places. You tell police, oh, let's go to one particular, it's in one forest. They'll say, we can't go there. Because they too, they are not equipped. You have to also equip the police. You have to give them good welfare. Because no police officer who has not eaten since morning, maybe is wearing slippers, that you now say you should go and fight a bandit. No. You need to also kit them properly, give them confidence that when once there's that distress call, they should be able to go all out for it. There are so many places. So the network has to be there. Thank God we now have ministers who are ready to work. So they can't tell me that it's everywhere in Nigeria that you have network.
Yeah.
We can tell them for free here that there are so many places in Nigeria there is no network. So many. You know, even in this Lagos, there are some places that you go to, you won't see network.
Even where there's network, you don't get.
You don't. Yeah. You know. So it's just like that. So it is not about a Christian thing or a Muslim thing. So the police will have to find how they can bring everybody to see how they can solve the problem. The pastors are Khan is saying something now. Very soon you'll see that these Islamic clerics will also come out. They will also say, their members are being killed and kidnapped too.
Okay, so, I'm afraid we have to leave it there. Asuko James, I want to thank you. Adewale Adeyi, I want to thank you for your contribution. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. and catch us this Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for journalist hangouts on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. See you tomorrow.